This is a
Good time, Charlie?
production.
On your marks, get set, play.
I love that.
Good favor.
That I really like.
That is delicious.
Bakers, your time is up.
I'm just gonna say you can't be combining my braided pigtail skink with my favorite baking show. Don't start the show that way. It bothered me. It's Crimpity Say. It's a Great British Bake Off podcast. I am joined as always by the homegirl Nick Jew.
YOLO, yellow, hello.
That's what the young kids are saying.
And it's Big Anthony in the building. What's good, champ?
We'll see by the end of the episode.
This is one of them ones where I personally feel very, very vindicated. Also,
You
called that
called
shit
it.
episode one.
You
Called
did call
episode
it.
one, having never seen the show, I was like, I can see this already. And so we'll get there as we ride out this week. Our bakers in the tent, remaining in the tent this week, is Miss Diana O'Brien, whose family apparently owned a cabin up in Canada on the St. Lawrence River. So now it's Canada, Texas, Sacramento. What is this person?
Still not beating the allegations.
It is Miss Kara Stucker. It is Martin Sorge. Nirali Chow. I don't know how to say her last name, but I want to point out, I just want to give Nirali a shout out today. We learned this week a practicing Hindu who ended up having to make burgers. I felt terrible for her. I
Yeah.
was like, that is fucked up, and y'all should have given her some alternatives. But I guess if you give her alternatives, everybody else has to have alternatives. I don't know, man, but we'll get to it. Sarah Chang and Sean Liu and Susan Simpson still in the business, and you know what it is. But we don't delve too deep before first heading to the mean streets. Bakers make the world go round. Bakers do indeed make the world go round, everybody. So let us share some of the good news from the baking world that has been discovered this week. Ant sent me a version of this article that came from a source that I don't bang with. So I went and found a different source, and I was happier with its source. This is from the good people over at Smithsonian Magazine. Will Sullivan is on the byline. Scientists 3D print a slice of cake. The 7-ingredient recipe shows potential for the future of making food with this technology, researchers say. Scientists have used 3D printers to design a range of useful, attractive, or downright strange objects. Consumers can purchase 3D printed bicycle frames, chairs, replica of the Thing from Addams Family, and even figurines of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as an octopus or a lobster. They have links, so let's just click on those links. I'd like to see this octopus and or lobster, rocktopus.
Rock lobster.
Rocktopus and rock lobster. You sons of bitches. You sons of bitches. But now, researchers are pushing an already expansive boundaries of 3D printing into another, more delicious realm, cheesecake. A team recently used a 3D printer to make an edible slice of cake. That they reported Tuesday in the journal NPJ Science of Food. The printer-friendly recipe requires 7 ingredients: graham cracker paste, peanut butter, strawberry jam, Nutella, banana puree, cherry drizzle, and frosting. Frosting? Really? What are we doing with frosting? Oh, I see what the frosting's for. It's a little dollop of the. In fact, here, I will share the screen again because y'all should see this because it is interesting in that regard.
Oh, yuck.
Well, I mean, for a first try.
But what I found most interesting about it was that it looks like a 3D printed house. The way, have you ever seen one of those
they do
before?
with the concrete and stuff.
Like a 3D printed house? Yeah, it looks just like a 3D printed house. And that's
Very
what caught my eye.
Of course, the success of the cake depends on its taste. Whether or not someone would enjoy this particular slice might depend on their affinity for graham crackers. The graham cracker paste made up more than 70% of the dessert. When you bite into it, you kind of feel the flavors hit you in different waves. Jonathan Blettinger, a mechanical engineer at Columbia University and first author of the new paper, tells New Scientist, Jeremy Sue, and I think that's a function of the layering inside of the actual structure. It definitely tastes like something I hadn't tried before, Blettinger tells The Guardian's Ian Sample, referring to an earlier collapse attempt at the slice. I rather enjoyed it, but it's not a conventional mix. We're not Michelin chefs. Fair.
It's too many ingredients, I think.
Yeah.
Also, just haven't watched the video, obviously, but just looking here at the setup, it's not what I imagined it to be. And I feel like 3D printing is doing a lot of work. It just feels like it's goo squirted in order and shaped like a cake.
That is exactly what it is.
So I'm not as terrified of it as I was.
You can see it right here. They run you through it. First attempt, second attempt, so forth and so on. And so what it comes down to is that's their best attempt so far. And clearly graham cracker is your structure at that point. That's doing your concrete work. As always, the link will be in the show notes. You guys can see the images and the video they provide.
It's no Costco cake.
While we're here, let's look at the Rocktopus.
Oh wow!
Oh man,
it's only $5.
I mean, come on, bro. As well as the rock lobster.
Oh, that's incredible.
Your various colors that you can get that in.
Wow.
That's upsetting.
Wow. As hell. Oh, it's a fidget toy. Of course it is.
Kind of butts with it. Next up is the Great British Bake Off. Where do the leftovers go? This is from Hits Radio, which is a UK-based site, which means there's probably... Oh, no, they actually got somebody on the byline. It's impressive. We know how this goes normally. Author is Georgie Holland. Word to Georgie. When it comes to feel-good shows, we think it's safe to say that the Great British Bake Off is a top-tier contender, and as the days grow colder and the nights grow darker, there's no better time to welcome the show with hosts Noel Fielding and Matt Lucas and judges Paul Hollywood and Prue Leith back with open arms. But as the show returns for 2022, a little older article, but it still fits the bill, as does the age-old question that haunts our mind, and our stomachs for that matter, what happens to the leftover food once filming is wrapped? Well, we've done some digging and can now shed some light on the situation. You'll be happy to know that the goodies do not go to waste, as the leftover baked goods are shared between this crew, we knew that, and the bakers themselves. Didn't think of that for some reason, but that makes sense too. Here, eat some of this cake, girl. Bake Off's chief home economist, Fania Moore, told BBC Good Food, it's important for the bakers to eat what they've slaved over. I don't like that turn of phrase. So each challenge I make up a baker's basket to go to their lunchroom. Any food then left over goes to crew members and former series 4 contestants, Allie telling Birmingham Mail, the cameraman literally stands there with forks in their back pockets, waiting to swoop as soon as filming stops.
Nice.
I love it.
It appears, however, the leftovers are but a myth in the bake-off tent, with Allie admitting the cakes are meant to be taken to a lunch area where everyone can share them, but they don't usually get that far because the crew eat them first. Well, as the fans of the show will know, there are 3 rounds to be completed during one episode of the show: the signature, the technical, and the showstopper. Of course, that means that there are 3 tasty treats produced by each contestant with just 1 slice taken by the judges. So plenty of treats left for bakers and crew to enjoy. However, 2013's Allie also revealed that there are more baked goods than we may think, confessing that in order to test the ovens, the technical team bake a Victorian sponge in each one every day. That's a lot of cake. That's
nice.
Kick ass. I like that little bit of data. Explaining the reason behind the mass cake production, he said, they do this to make sure that all the ovens are working properly and that no one can blame a bad bake on a technical malfunction. And on the first day, everyone gets an hour practice run so they know where everything is. So there we have it. Although our dreams of finding a location filled with all the sweet treat leftovers we could ever imagine are shattered, we know they go to the hardworking cast and crew. Well deserved, we think. That's dope. I like having that information in my brain going forward.
I was always so curious, especially because this was bread week. I'm like, what they do with that bread?
You do with them cakes and them breads and them pies.
Again, it's a good, the link in the show notes. It's a good one. You can scroll down tons and tons of pictures of all various seasons of Bake Off, Channel 4 and BBC. So you can see all kinds of bakers that you have known and loved over the years and hosts and so forth. Here's a picture of Briney. I love Briney. So good shit, y'all. Thanks, Nick and Ant, for the stories. Let us get into it. Our signature this week.
There was
Babka.
an error in the broadcast. Did you notice it?
Go on.
They put up the what do you call it? The graphic for the signature challenge during the technical challenge.
I did not notice that. Just skip right through it, which tells you why I don't have the time. Because normally I get time or whatever for my other challenges. An error I did notice, and let me see if I can scroll down to it. It's in my notes. Paul was saying something, and the closed caption said he said something different. And it's in my notes. Don't worry. When we get down to it, I'll read it.
Oh, okay.
I typed it in there, so we'll get to it. But I was like, look at that. Signature this week is a babka loaf made with enriched yeasted dough that has been rolled out, braided, and with a swirl. It could be sweet, got to be sweet technically, and they want a little icing on top of it to kind of set it off. I think of babka. I think of Seinfeld, and because they were trying to get that chocolate babka, and they ended up with a cinnamon babka to go to somebody's party. I don't know. It's a babka thing. And I've never had babka. I know it exists. I know what it is, but I've never been to a bakery.
Heard of it.
Oh, no way. So first up, Martin. He's making an Andersonville babka named after the neighborhood he lives in. It's meant to be an homage to a now closed local Swedish bakery's coffee cake. It is made with orange and cardamom flavored dough with a cinnamon almond filling, decorated with the colors of the Swedish flag. I literally just talked about this last night, but there's a holiday around these parts of the world called Sweetest Day, around October, if I'm not mistaken. And, it's basically Valentine's Day Junior. But once my lady, Vanessa, accidentally said Swedish Day, and we was like, well, we ain't fucking with Swedish Day ever again, but Swedish Day is our shit. And Swedish Day just passed, not just passed, but June 6th every year is Swedish Day. I want to get down with my celebration, get down with some Swedish Day. Eat some Swedish fish is pretty much what we do.
Nice.
And it's Swedish. Yeah. Karis went with orange cinnamon babka, zest in the filling, juice in the dough, and orange syrup over the loaf with a candy peel on top. Diana was making a maple walnut babka. This is where we learned she had, property up in Canada. Maple soap babka decorated with maple candies and a bourbon in the glaze, which made Prue go, man, you kind of quit telling motherfuckers I'm an alcoholic. She had to let Paul know. Quit putting me on blast like this. Like I can see it in her face. Like even these American jackoffs know that you got them thinking I'm a lush. Stop it. Sean banged out a date and coconut babka inspired by I guess his parents' date tree. I'm like, where y'all stay at? But filled with dates and babka, decorated with a whiskey mascarpone glaze and toasted pistachios for a little crunch. The Raleigh went with a rosewater baklava babka, filled with almond and walnut, flavored with cinnamon and cardamom with a rosewater glaze. As soon as I hear rosewater, y'all, I know what it is. I don't like rose flavored things. I don't like the flowery nature of it. I don't like, there's lavender things that are flavored and so forth. I don't bang with none of them. And I'm just like, yuck, stop it. And of course, Paul hears rose and he does the same thing I do. He got PTSD from it. Like, look, don't be fucking this up, man. What you putting this rose in? How much rose you putting in there?
Right.
It has to be asked. And Sarah went with a lemon poppy seed babka, apparently her husband's favorite flavors, with a nice little lemon glaze. That is what we were baking this go round. Our judging this week, Nirali was up first. Looks beautiful. Looks beautifully made. Prue thinks it's lovely. Paul doesn't think it's spread out evenly enough in the bread itself, but overall it's a nice loaf that tastes great. For Sarah, Prue at first thinks it's disappointing on the tongue. Paul thinks it's spot on. Prue backtracked to say, oh yeah, it's pretty decent once you got a little bite with some glaze on it. So you had to make sure you hit the glaze and the lemon for that before you want to do what you needed to do. For Martin, a classy cake ruined by the decoration. That little blue and yellow he spread on the top of that was so unnecessary. I get it. Homage to Swedish bakery and all that. You did well with everything else, and it proved out. Flavor and texture, gorgeous. The babka was delicious. Well done. Very good. Susan needed longer proving time, but a delicious blend of apricot and cranberry. They work well together. Tangy and sweet and very nice. Sean's a little dark. Decent swirl. Brioche-like texture. Slightly overproved and slightly burnt. Diana, overall appearance is quite rustic, but in a good way. Paul quite likes that. Bordering on the dark side. A little too dark, in fact. All this felt racist to me. Every time they said these words, I was like, it just has a tone to it that I know you may not imply, but it felt that way. Texture good. Flavor of the maple is good, but it's burnt, and you can taste the bitterness that comes from that.
Burnt. Put a pin in that.
He tried hard. He was like, oh, it's dark. Yeah, it's dark. Okay, it's shit's burnt. All right, it's burnt. I'm going to be real with you. It's burnt.
Yeah, it was burnt. The signature challenge was burnt.
Oh, yeah.
I have no qualms about who went home this week, but I have some about who won.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I guess in this case, Martin technically, I guess, would have won this particular challenge. Karis, proving issues. The yeast was killed by the acidity in the OJ.
Did she even try? Did she practice? How does this happen?
I'm going to get there. Not good for Paul. Prue loves the flavor. The thing about the signature is, and we know it, you practice it.
You get to practice.
You're given the opportunity to practice it over and over again. Meaning either your ass didn't practice this, which is probably bloody likely, or you just, no, there's no other answer. You didn't practice. There's no way you did this.
I believe that they practice. They go in the tent and before filming and they practice it. Some of them even get to do this at home, the signature challenge.
Exactly.
Well, when they were, when the British folk were going home in between weeks.
Yeah. I think she probably went with, if she practiced, assuming she practiced, I think she probably went with just the zest and was like, I could probably get more orange flavor if I throw some juice up in this bitch. Yeah. And we learned that, no, you cannot. To stick with the zest. Y'all, it was Paul referred to it as a pancake babka. It was so flat. It had absolutely zero rise. It was, no rise. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't what you want. It's not bread. It was a dense ass
cake. It was at least it tasted good.
It tasted good to Prue. Paul didn't like the way it tasted.
Yeah, this is when I was like, I am glad Prue is back this week.
Yes.
Because we got to see the very stark dichotomy between the way they judge things.
Yeah. Prue was really getting folk up over the hump this week. It's like, hold on, baby. It's okay. The technical challenge this week is an interesting one to me. I like the way they did it, but then I'm like, wait a minute, but I don't see you actually out here testing that little, here, let's get to it. 12 mini burger buns to make 10 sliders and 2 just buns to the side to test, to take a look at, make sure they have done what they're supposed to do. And it was, your technical means you're given a pretty bare bones recipe, but in this case, it seemed to be a very specific recipe. What it is, they just didn't tell you what everything to do with everything. And one person alone was like, this egg, I should probably throw it in this dough. Just observe the room for a little bit. Just give it a look. Like
she looked around like that. I can say, like, especially with this episode, this felt the most like a British episode.
Oh, go on, explain.
It just seemed like the editing and the camera work finally caught up with everybody. The story. It felt like the most fast-paced episode thus far. It felt like everything was running the way it was supposed to. Like interference from the from the host. Like just it felt like the cheekiness was back. Like when she's holding the little cup about to put the egg in, they zoom in on it like, is she really about to put this egg in? Even though we all of us know that you're not supposed to put it in there. And it was just like, oh yeah, fuck it, I'm putting this egg in here. Like it,
because she saw everybody making their little egg wash and whipping it up, and then she was ahead of everybody. I'm trying to understand. I don't bake. I know you're supposed to put whole eggs in certain things, but
Yeah. But this particular dough did not call for an egg in it at all. And
also, may I say about the whole meat substitute thing, they could have easily given Nerali something else, because the challenge was not really about the hamburger. It was about the bun.
Yes.
And I felt really terrible for her, because for like religious reasons, just like they let old girl use aquafaba or whatever. I think like
for vegan, yes. Yes.
I think if the challenge was specifically like a beef Wellington or some shit like that, then what you gonna do? But they were not really, they didn't judge nobody's burger.
Yeah. Yeah. I was bothered by it. Like I said, honestly, I'm surprised it has not come up, but again, it is what it is. We talked about it. Maybe who knows? Maybe that'll make just enough noise to make somebody go, "Hey, that is fucked up." And going forward, I hope we don't make people have to use materials that they are just literally they shouldn't be made to do,
especially on a baking show. Like,
yeah, the baking portion of this program was the part that needed to be handled, and so that is what's up. Our judging in the technical goes as follows. Diana's up first. Like the shine, very nice and soft, flavor good. Martin, a little small. Patty was thick. Taste all right. Nice glaze on the roll. Nerali, a bit tight. Good dome. A nice tender bread. Susan, a bit messy. Looks ridiculous with the lettuce. and what I wrote here is a very American placement that I think our British judges missed on. Lettuce hanging off the bun is a thing we do here often. Mm-hmm. So I think they just don't know what's up with that. But the bread is nicely seasoned. A little bit of a chew, a good bun overall. Sean, a little small, but neat and glazed as properly and delicious. Karis, lacks sesame seeds. Small. Dough is quite yellow. Obvious that egg was to be used for egg wash. Was instead added to the dough. Flavor is good inside, however. So that egg must have did something right. So going forward, maybe an egg in your burger bun and a little egg on top of your burger bun. Just say it. See, she might have discovered something.
Again, didn't entirely shit the bed on the challenge. But listen, if a motherfucker could make an egg cake and not be in last place and not even be in conversation to go home, her shit came out good. She just fumbled one of the, it's a technical challenge. So obviously she came in last, but the egg cake lady did not come in last. I just listened to our episode from last week today, and I was like nodding along and agreeing with myself again at listening to it, because like, how the fuck?
You're right, Nick,
how the fuck do you not come in last place when you make a cake that tastes like scrambled eggs?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Sarah. I quite like the uniformity. This is where it comes up. I quite like the uniformity of this one, is what Paul said out loud. But the closed captioning, because I had the closed caption on for spelling and so forth, when I'm taking notes, said I called out the uniformity, an unforgivable error in my opinion. It's like,
oh yeah,
don't mess with somebody say like that, because I mean, for our hard of hearing watchers and so forth and so on, that could literally change how they are perceiving the show to be going down. Mm-hmm. Like, hold on, man, he calling this out. Why? So I don't know. Nice color, a little small, a little overdone, needs salt. I feel like, well, you know what? She did kind of come like in the bottom, so I guess she at the bottom of the table. I can't eat bad. I feel like you got to. If I got to tell you, your shit needs salt. Just in general, you got to have your seasoning right. It must be.
She must not season that meat at all, because after there's a bread that you probably salted the dough to make, cheese. That's like, she probably didn't even sprinkle that meat with no seasoning.
It's so weird. I'm saying her ancestors looking her sideways. The ranking is as follows. Number 7 is Karis. Number 6 is Susan. That is last and second to last place. 2 weeks in a row for these two. Number 5, Sarah. Number 4, Sean. Number 3 was Martin. Number 2, Nirali. I want you to understand this. Came in second place in this challenge for a person, a devout Hindu who has never made beef in their life. Whipped up a patty that they thought was a bit too thick, but was delicious otherwise. Very impressive work.
People of color know how to season, boy.
She said, I don't know how this shit supposed to look.
For real. Like, I'm gonna give you this, and I hope for the best. Diana, nice bun, nice consistency, nice well cooked patty, a nice slider. So that all worked out.
The first thing I thought was like, she a rockabilly. She got to know how to make hamburgers or a peanut butter and banana sandwich. She got to know both those things.
Fair. Showstopper, Nick Jew, were you showstopped this week?
As a matter of fact, I was, friend.
Nice. What about this? Well, here, let me tell you what it is, and then I'll go into it. A 3D bread sculpture based on a story from childhood with 4.5 hours to make this happen. Now, what about this pulled you out your hookup? Made you go, okay?
Bread week is my favorite week. I do like a grandiose kind of bread sculpture situation, and nobody was fucking with that lion. Who was that? Jurgen? Not Jurgen.
Did Jurgen do the lion? No, somebody else did that lion. I think it was like the year
That
before
lion,
that, right?
it is like no one is ever topping that fucking lion. That whole challenge was amazing. But
Yeah.
I thought we got some really great looking bread. I was, however, disappointed as a Californian that none of these challenges included sourdough, which is a very American bread. Maybe it's my left coast supremacy. No sourdough, no Dutch crunch. Like, and what was that bread that looked like focaccia?
Worry not. I'm about to tell you a whole ass story.
Yeah. I was like, why is everyone making bread I've never heard of? So I was impressed.
All right. First up is Diana, who's making an ugly duckling all grown up bread sculpture. A chocolate orange milk bread body, a bagel bread neck, fougasse wings, and steamed bun ducklings filled with olive and cheese. Fougasse is a type of bread normally associated with the Provence region, the southeastern area of France, but it's a wide range of breads that fall under the fougasse umbrella, including Italian focaccia, Spanish hogazza, Catalonian fugassa, Hungarian pogassa. The traditional version can have cheese, olives, garlics, and/or anchovies. Fougasse is baked on a hot stove like a pizza, which traditionally has the hearth, where focaccia cooks in a deep oiled pan. So the provincial bread fougasse ends up being crispier than its Italian cousin. Up next, Karis, who's making the Wolf's Truth. It's a Three Little Pigs, a little offshoot, made from enriched dough with a bourbon bacon jam. Sticks and straws are made from rosemary grissini, aka breadsticks, and bricks is made of the same enriched dough, but decorated with lemon icing, to look like bricks. Susan is making Susan's childhood wish. White bread horse, wheat bread trough, and main decorated with dried fruits and sesame seeds.
That motherfucker looked like BoJack Horseman.
Sarah is making the neighborhood Bunny's Buffet. It's based on Peter Rabbit. It's a rye bread garden, a milk bread vegetables, and a rosemary breadstick fence. Now, when they talked about this, they said she was making 4 breads, but when they talked about the breads, they mentioned 3 breads. There was no 4th bread. So I'm like, what the fuck is y'all talking about? What is the 4th bread? Why have you kept it to yourself? But that's fine. Martin is making Robin Hood's Italian Adventure. He makes a target with garlic butter, pesto, and pepperoni pizza flavored, breads. Bow, arrows, and feather made with sourdough grissini. So there you go. There's your sourdough, although it wasn't a part of the challenge. I'm glad he brought sourdough to the table.
Yeah.
Nirali is going with mouse with a cookie that I said looks like a cat and nothing like the character it's based on. And no one said anything. I want y'all to see this. This is me having to share the screen again.
It looked so much better before she baked it. It came out the oven and I was like, oh, wow, what happened?
The sun ravaged it.
This is what this character looks like.
Oh.
If you give a mouse a cookie.
Did this look anything like what she presented to the class?
No, I thought hers was like a teddy
So-
bear.
That shit is supposed to be a mouse.
So that was in
and it
Raleigh,
looks
right?
like a cat.
I wonder, did they version? Does her version look the same? Maybe it's hers is
I
foreign.
can't call it. I was very upset.
No, Raleigh is from America.
Oh, all I remember is I remember watching I was watching Sesame Street, the Israel version with the
Oh, they have different big
everybody look
birds and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that. It was with Ben from Growing Pains. He had a special episode, and they were talking about making fried food.
What happened to him? What was his name?
good
Jeremy
episode.
something.
Yeah, Jeremy something. I do remember that. All right. Found out what happened to my man.
I don't know. Him or
The Raleigh's
JTP.
bread is a saffron and fennel dough with a lemon glaze, but the cookie, which is a part of this operation, is made as a chocolate chili bread.
Why did
Sean-
everybody try to make chocolate bread? It was like 3 chocolate breads.
Sean was making unbread and fabulous troll bread, a sculpture, pesto garlic, and a pesto garlic knot face, and a chocolate cherry bread body. And it's the problem with this is, I guess Paul Hollywood regularly makes chocolate cherry bread. He's been making it for 35 years. And so that means you were going to have a tough character to judge your shit on this week.
And I think one thing we constantly talk about almost every year is that you probably shouldn't go with chocolate because most people go with a chocolate powder and it makes it more dry. And that's always a big complaint.
Consistently. Judging goes down like this. Sarah looks incredible, enchanting, lovely color, texture lovely, a Moorish loaf. And then finally somebody just had to ask the question, what the hell does Moorish mean? I constantly hear people from the UK and Ireland say Moorish. And I'm like, I didn't know what that shit mean either. And it just means they want more of it. And
Where
Gotta
did
say,
Sarah place
should've just
in the
said that.
technical?
Tech was number 5 in the bottom, down the bottom.
But they liked her signature bake, yeah?
Yes, yeah, very much so. And they
Yeah.
loved this. They loved her little showstop. So, Sean, like the chocolate flavor, but the cherry's not strong enough, and the bread's a little hard, according to Prue. Martin, it's certainly Robin Hood. The hat is perfect. Simple, maybe too simple for 4.5 hours worth of work. Rosemary
Agree.
far too strong, but the garlic bread is perfect. Susan, this is my own take on this. The fact that no one mentioned her horse was banging Pyru as it said is telling.
Was there
You
a
you
piece
saw that
of...
red bandana?
Yes.
You know what it was.
Was there a piece of doo-doo on the ground?
Oh no!
There was a mouse in a trap,
I
but
saw
it was
that.
like beheaded. And then to the right of it, I feel like there was a piece of doo-doo that they kept
Oh,
like
smokes!
taking the camera off.
Oh wow! I did see a lot of flies this episode, which
Yeah.
was
I didn't
disturbing.
peep the flies.
But
Let's see. Really incredible. Love the little feeder. Good degree of salt overall. Good job. The bread's nice. Maybe add more flavors. Should make some salty ass bread. And I'm like, it's beautiful, but it's just salty ass bread.
yeah.
It is
And
the
it looked
beauty
like
of that.
BoJack Horseman.
It kind of I didn't think it was a terrible looking horse, but it kind of felt like they were kind of kind in her face and shitty behind her back when they were talking about the horse. Because compared to like some of the other people's things, it did look like BoJack Horseman, but it's bread, and we knew exactly what it was, and I kind of felt like
I wasn't mad at it. I thought it was really good. Like when Paul called it simple, I was shocked.
Yeah, I'm like, where's the target? I guess kind of was simple, but I guess that shit looked like a target with arrows sticking out of it. I don't know. I couldn't have made it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Paul was on one for those especially
Yeah, them
those
simple
two.
comments
Like
wasn't really what it was. But maybe.
he had to do a lot of kneading. He did so like Nick pointed out. He actually did a sourdough, which isn't the
Yeah.
simplest bread to make. If he executed all those things well,
It looked, I think, compared to the little rendering they showed of it when they were describing it, it did look simple because there was like a piece on the side that didn't end up in the final bake, part of the costume. Whatever it was making it more indicative that it was Robin Hood.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't them boots Raleigh made.
Them chocolate dirty boots.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of Miss Norali, beautifully done. Love the vibrancy of the color, amusing, beautifully executed. The chocolate bread is, of course, dry, but the saffron and fennel bread is tasty and a good balance of flavor. And overall, good job. Just leave the chocolate out your bread, people.
Man.
Diana, the ugly ducklings look like baby seals. What?
Oh yeah, club seals.
The fougasse is very good, properly chewy, really nice job. All them breads was hidden. Your second Showstopper handshake. Again, you don't get handshakes in the Showstopper, but to have them laced in 2 weeks straight is a big deal, man. Exceptional.
And, I also like to comment again on the editing on this part, like the franticness of these scenes that she had checking on her bread. Man, I thought that she kept on leaving paper in the oven. I thought the paper was about to
bugged out
burn.
about the bagel. She was super worried about it, not doing what she wanted to do. Yeah.
I didn't love her final product. I thought it was kind of messy and ugly, but it must have tasted fantastic because they were.
Yeah, he almost gave her the brother soul slap and the. Because he went on about
he said
that
exceptional,
bread.
the sort of thing you would buy in an artisanal bake shop in France. I don't know what shops he go to that make these kind of things, but hey, that's you, man. Harris, the pigs are enchanting. The grissini, absolutely delicious. Would have liked to have the olive inside as opposed to on the outside, how she did it. It's a bit underproof. Nice flavor, but a bit too heavy. The honey loaf, far too tight. I don't know the last time I had them go to the final little table and be like, so what's going on? Do we think we know who's star baker and who's going home? And they just be like, oh, we know who's going home.
Right.
Without
she, it just her Showstopper, her critiques weren't that bad to me. Like he was crumbling up somebody's chocolate bread and just crumbling it to dust on the table. She had to go because she had to go, but I don't think she had the worst performance this week in total.
Yeah, she got spanked for
Yeah, she had to go. No qualms about it. It was her time. She shit the bed like in her first two challenges. Yeah. I don't know that Diana was the runaway winner from my perspective.
Yeah.
But I really couldn't. I'm not pressed to argue for anybody else.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else. So everybody, let's say, if we look at Martin had a good signature, but a middling technical and middling Showstopper now when you think about it. So that he would have been your closest, I guess. Mm-hmm. Sarah had a very good Showstopper, a bottom of the table situation for technical. And how did she do in the signature? If I go back to look
you
at
said?
Sarah. Yeah, that was in technical. Yeah, so
signature.
Yeah, they liked her. Yeah, Paul really liked her lemon poppy seed babka, and Prue was like, but then she was like, hold on, let me bite it this way. It was like, okay, that is hitting. So
yeah, I think Sarah could be the best contender for a win because they don't really give a fuck about the signature challenge unless the technical challenge unless they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down in my notes a few weeks ago that she's like one of the sleeper bakers in there. She seems like to have good flavors. She's not the best at design, but she still makes really solid.
That's Susan for me. I feel like Susan is either going to have a really great week next week or she'll go home.
I feel like because I think about it two ways. the way things look and the things I would absolutely eat. And almost every week, Susan got some shit I want to taste. Every week. Like, she's one of those, she seems like she knows her flavors. Some of the things is like, you know, sometimes a little unorthodox, but she seems like such a strong baker.
I agree.
Yeah, solid all right episode. Like Ant said, I think everybody got their footing this week. It as a production. I'm like, okay, we are rolling. Good jokes. You know what I'm saying? Not too much nonsense. The interruptions were a proper interruption, you know what I'm saying?
The one they did to Diana, that shit was funny to me. I screamed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the first time like I said, this episode seemed so much like to form. I'm looking forward to pastry week.
Yeah.
Also, is the illusion that they're doing this all in one day? Because is that why they make them wear the same clothes?
Oh, I never did think that. They make it a point to say they do signature and technical on one day and Showstopper the next.
So they make them wear the same clothes for editing. Then.
Okay. Which makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, did Diana break the fourth wall when she was talking about yesterday? But yeah.
Yeah. No, that is standard. We all are aware.
Gotcha.
Because Ellie even pointed out today, she was like, don't worry, we still got this afternoon to Karis after that awful loaf that she made.
This shit looked like a brick.
Bruh. I told y'all Karis was going home, episode 3 from episode 1. I saw that shit. I knew it. And again, we have watched a lot of Bake Off. So it's like, it is certain people who some things about some things. Now here's the thing. Couldn't tell you who is going home this next week. I'm looking at who's left in the set. I'm like, who is having fuck ups here? And it feel like it could be Susan just on how she does in technicals.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't trying to say she's going home.
Something. Watch it be something that Susan can make with her eyes closed, and then she gonna fuck it up. I'm predicting Susan to have a banner week for pastry week.
Excellent.
Although I don't think she's gonna win. I just think I would like her to win because then to me, like, the more competitive the final is, the more fun it is as the viewer.
Yeah. And like,
how many episodes do we have left in total?
3. Yeah, 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's like a 6-episode run. It's wild short. I'm trying to go look it up.
Because I basically know everyone's name from week 2.
I'm trying to look at it without having it spoiled for me.
So let's see if I can manage that.
We're just gonna do this. We're gonna do this.
Because I was
1, 2, 3 episodes left. There we go. And that's me covering the screen so I can't see nothing else. Trying to close this.
I kind of felt like the editing tricked me a little bit. I swear I thought something was gonna burn in Diana's oven. I thought something was gonna fuck up, and I thought it was gonna be 2 people. Like, because eventually they're gonna have to let go either 2 or 3 people, or 2 people on one episode.
And so because the finals is always 3 bakers, and semi. Yeah, okay, so that means it's coming up. It's gonna be what they call a double elimination situation. So they gotta get set on their way.
And what a short gonna suck even more.
Did I say Star Baker? Star Baker was Diana. Your eliminated baker was certainly Karis. I didn't actually say that, but come on, y'all. Context clues.
It was time.
Also, just look at the art on your phone right now. Unless you're on Spotify, because I do a different art. I do different art for Spotify than I do for everywhere else. But she met her and she seemed to take it well. I went and followed her on Instagram today, so that's how you know it's official.
Well, I wouldn't think. I guess I didn't notice that she was the youngest baker.
Oh, really?
So it kind of makes me feel like she could, do better as time goes on. But like the mistakes she was making were like maddening from the beginning.
I also think that because it's in America, we have a little different perspective because like they can't win any money or anything over there. And over here, like they haven't announced a prize or anything. So it's probably kind of the same thing. Like she doesn't lose anything from being on the show. And hopefully she's on there long enough that her Instagram will be popping and she could get some partnerships or something.
Yep, got to kick it in England for a stretch. You know what I'm saying? Go hang out in Europe for a bit. That's lovely. So, and on her Instagram, and maybe I'll share that in whatever. It's a picture of her and Ellie Kemper. Apparently, they had a good rapport.
Oh,
So,
cute.
Yeah. So, we
Yeah,
learned
Ellie
about
won me over this episode. She had me cracking up.
I'm telling you,
She was not awkward this
everybody,
episode.
everybody hit their stride this week, and I'm like, that makes me that much more excited for the rest of the series. Like, okay,
They probably would have done it last week if Prue wasn't missing,
yeah. But Nick said you need that sometimes, just a little, whatever.
A little
'Cause, like,
shake up.
who got sent home for like what? Didn't Rebs go home for like a week last?
Was it not Rebs? It was a guy, wasn't it?
They were both off.
It was two people in one episode.
Okay,
that got
so,
the COVID.
yeah, got that vid, yeah, man. So, come on, people, take care of yourselves best you can. I know. What's our poll question this week and our question for the Spotifyans?
Sourdough, yay or nay? Or sourdough versus rye bread?
Or if people did they make their little sourdough bread during the pandemic?
Oh, that's a good question. That will be the question.
The poll could be: would you say sourdough or what, Aunt?
Rye bread.
Rye.
Wow, rye. Or wasn't the other thing focaccia that people were making during the
was
pandemic?
it focaccia?
Did you make sourdough focaccia? The wetness.
I was gonna say, do you prefer your toast butter side up or down? Some Dr. Seuss shit.
Toast. If I could type on some Dr. Seuss shit in that poll, I would. I'm gonna write it right here just in case.
It's the butter battle.
Nice. Apparently, I can't spell Seuss right to this. Some of my computer's liking. There we go.
Trips me up every time.
In you guys' opinion, what restaurant has the best bread? Like the best free bread?
It's definitely going to be Red Lobster for your girl.
Fuck, I didn't think about some Cheddar Bay. Look, Cheddar Bay biscuits go hard. Cheesecake Factory's brown bread with butter goes hard. Texas Roadhouse rolls with their little honey butter goes hard.
Bruh.
So, but it is Cheddar Bay biscuits and
hands down
not
Cheddar
really
Bay.
close.
And they have that little take home kit you can make, and they come out just as good.
Oh, better if your mans and add more sharp cheddar cheese to the formula so it can come out real good. You got to tweak.
I love. They also have a rosemary garlic one, a rosemary one. I love that.
There is a bakery near me that has an olive loaf, and they only have it on the weekends, and it is so good. Like, I will eat that whole loaf of bread in like 2 days. Let me put that on my cheat list for when I drop off my blood. Go get a loaf of bread.
Like, I'm gonna see y'all Saturday. All right, let me holler at y'all. But that is it, people. It is always a delight. That's just what it is, people. It's this week. It is Cheddar Bay biscuits. Put some respect on their name.
Yes.
That's Nick Jew.
Bye.
That's Ant.
Hey, good night. See you next week.
I'm T, and I will do it again next week, y'all. Until then, peace.
What happened to your ass? It used to be beautiful.